Uh-oh, it's a full moon again. Here are 19 reasons to watch Silver Bullet. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and this is a place where I talk to you about all things Stephen King. And in this video, I'm taking another look at one of the adaptations of Stephen King's work. Specifically, we're still in the great year of 1985, and we are looking at Silver Bullet, which is based on King's novella Cycle of the Werewolf, which came out a couple of years prior to the movie. Now, we'll get to that in a moment, but first, a couple of things to plug. So, if you like hearing from indie horror authors, like understanding what makes them tick, and like hearing what their relationship is to Stephen King, then you need to check out the Constant Writers podcast, which I put out earlier this year. You can find it to listen to wherever you get your podcasts, or you can watch the interviews right here on YouTube by clicking the playlist up there. Do go and check it out. And if you like indie horror authors, then make sure you hit the link in the description to sign up to my newsletter. You'll get a recommendation of a new indie horror author from me every single week, and you get my mini collection Mirrored plus 10 Tiny Tales of Terror as an ebook for free just for signing up. And lastly, of course, you can buy your copy of the Ultimate Stephen King Quiz Book, which I published last year. Spent 2 years of my life writing more than 3,000 questions on all things Stephen King, all his books, all his movies. Yeah, it's got the lot in there, so do go and find that. There are links in the description. It's available on Amazon and on Barnes & Noble. And if you've already got a copy, thank you for picking one up. If you could leave a review, that would be really, really helpful too. So as you know, this video is 19 reasons to watch Silver Bullet, which is the movie based on the novella Cycle of the Werewolf. Now, as I do in these videos, any spoilery reasons will be clustered together towards the end of the list, and there'll be a spoiler alert before we get there. So if you've not seen this movie yet, you can still watch some of the reasons, and then you can bail before anything that might ruin it for you if you've not seen it before. Or you can just watch all 19 and let me know what you think at the end. Now, at the time of recording this video, Silver Bullet doesn't appear to be streaming anywhere. So I guess you're going to have to try and hunt down a DVD maybe, or see if it's on YouTube illegally, but I wouldn't advocate for that sort of behavior, obviously. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Let's get into 19 reasons to watch Silver Bullet. So I like to start these videos with like a headline reason, the key takeaway reason for you to go and seek out this movie if you've not seen it before, or for you to go and rewatch it if it's been a while since you did. With Silver Bullet, for the first time, kind of struggling. It's not a bad movie per se, but it's not particularly good either. It's the first King adaptation that really sits in that middle ground of just being a bit meh. But I will say that the combination of Corey Haim as Marty, Gary Busey as his uncle, and Everett McGill as the Reverend Lowe, they are a dream on screen and are absolutely worth watching, honest. So let's go right into casting actually. Gary Busey is undoubtedly the star of this. And famously, a lot of his lines and scenes were ad-libbed, and that was something he wanted to do, something King approved of, and kind of feels like a good match for the character that he's playing from the book, who was a bit of a rogue and a bit of a renegade.
That's bullshit luck. Bullshit luck.
And those scenes come out really well. And I think it's interesting to note as well that the other person considered for this role was another fan of the ad-lib, the unbelievably talented and much missed John Candy.
Holy jumped up ball-headed Jesus Palomino.
The late Corey Haim is also excellent in this, full of 80s preteen sass, and he has a rocket-powered wheelchair to whiz around in. I mean, what's not to love? And then there's Everett McGill, who is like the kind of actor you just don't see anymore. He's got so much presence about him, so much character about him, and he puts in a great turn, as do Lawrence Tierney and Terry O'Quinn as well.
Hey, fuck off!
So yeah, it's a great cast. It's just a shame about the script, the direction, the production, and pretty much everything else. So, direction came from Daniel Attias. This was his first movie as director. It was also his last movie as a director. Ouch. So, it's not a spoiler to say that this is a werewolf movie. So fun fact for you about this werewolf movie. They started production without a werewolf costume. In fact, the costume is so hilariously bad, and it's not a spoiler to say so, that it warrants a bit more discussion here. So King apparently wanted the werewolf to blend in a bit more and not be this hulking monster movie beast that we might be used to and might expect from a werewolf movie. So the costume was pared back a bit and was covered in black bear hair. The result being that the werewolf kind of looks like a black bear. Yeah, it doesn't look good. And producer Dino De Laurentiis wasn't really happy with it either. But by then, they were too far down the road in production. He was kind of in a bind over it. Couldn't really do much to solve the problem. So yeah, we have this terrible looking werewolf. But at least in the movie, there isn't the distraction of the stupidly sexy werewolf bum that we get in the book. Stupid sexy werewolf. Sticking with the wolf bear, werebear, werewolf, whatever we're calling it, they actually hired a professional modern dance artist to wear that costume and bust all of those werewolf moves. And he was so bad that they got rid of him and Everett McGill had to don the costume and do it himself. Awkward. However, and yes, I know this is yet another point about the werewolf, but it is a werewolf movie, it could have been worse. There were plans originally for the werewolf to talk. So a nice little detail for you here, and I don't know if it's deliberate or not, but the bar that the townsfolk gather in is called Owen's Bar, and King's youngest son is called Owen. So lastly, before spoilers, along with Children of the Corn, this is definitely at the bottom of the list in terms of good adaptations that we've covered so far. But this one definitely is still worth watching at least once. For all of the guff in this film, there are a couple of standout moments which are wonderful and make you frustrated at what might have been. So it's definitely worth checking out the once. And if you've seen it maybe a few years ago, go and revisit it because you'll probably have fun with it. Okay, from this point onwards, going to be talking about similarities and differences from the book, picking out some of my favourite scenes, favourite lines, Easter eggs, connections, that sort of thing. A load of stuff that potentially could spoil things for you if this is your first time watch. So consider this your spoiler alert. If you need to leave here, please do so and come back soon. Otherwise, stick around because I've got a few more reasons for you to watch Silver Bullet. So this one differs from the book in a few ways. The book takes place over the course of a year because the book famously, as you'll know from my 19 Reasons to Read It video, the book famously was going to be a calendar initially. This movie instead takes place over a few months. It runs from May to the end of the year rather than the full calendar year. And of course, the title was changed. It's called Silver Bullet. It's not called Cycle of the Werewolf. And this is the first non-anthology adaptation to change the title of a King work, which is kind of interesting. Oh, also in the movie, the werewolf kills a couple of people with a baseball bat because, sure. So I mentioned earlier that there are some awesome scenes in this, so let's get into those. Top of that list has to be the townsfolk hunting for the wolf in the mist, which is fucking awesome.
Where's it coming from?
Next up, the scene with Marty and the wolf on the bridge with the fireworks. Yeah, that one's pretty darn great as well. And then possibly my favourite is the dream sequence in the church where the whole congregation turns into werewolves. It's a famous scene from the book and it works really well in the film. It's chilling and it's fucking weird too. I love it. So I like to pick out my favourite lines in these, and this has been a tough ask for Silver Bullet because, well, there aren't many in there. Not a great script, to be honest. So I've got to pick one though. Let's go with Uncle Red, Gary Busey, talking about whether he thinks werewolves exist or not.
There are no such things as werewolves.
There is, I saw it. Uncle Red was a werewolf.
Have some pity on your poor uncle, okay?
So not really any Easter eggs in this one, but a couple of connections from the cast. So Terry O'Quinn would later star in Castle Rock in the first season of that. And of course, there's Dino De Laurentiis producing. And we've already met him a few times in our journey because he was behind, well, let me think, The Dead Zone, Firestarter, Cat's Eye, and he would later go on to do Sometimes They Come Back and Maximum Overdrive. Lastly, I've run out of reasons, to be honest, so let's drag the tone right down to the bottom for this final reason and all just laugh at how phallic this looks, where they decided to use a bullet for the eye on the logo, and it just looks like a silver penis. Lol.
Matter, Bobby, you're gonna make lemonade in your pants.
I ain't scared. Let's go.
So there we go, 19 reasons to watch Silver Bullet. Not a classic, but still kind of fun. And if you can hunt it down, it's definitely worth watching, at least in my opinion. Let me know what you think of this one in the comments, and let me know if you miss the fact that we didn't have the distractingly sexy werewolf bottom in there. I think I did, actually, thinking about it. Stupid sexy werewolf. Anyway, I'm distracting myself now. Please check out the Constant Writers podcast. Please do sign up for my newsletter. Buy my quiz book if you're able to and you're interested. Leave a review of it if you already have. All of those kind of things all really help. And if you want to come and say hi on Instagram, I'm at Dave Musson. Always happy to talk. Films, books, sexy werewolves, whatever. Bring it on. Come say hi. Next time we are tackling Stephen King's directorial debut. Now that's going to be fun.